The email notification lit up my phone at 2:47 a.m. on a Tuesday, and I should have ignored it. I was 46 years old, a successful real estate agent in Charleston, South Carolina, and I'd learned long ago that nothing good comes from late-night messages. But insomnia had become my constant companion since the divorce 3 years ago, so I reached for my phone in the darkness of my bedroom, the blue light harsh against my eyes. What I saw made my blood run cold. A link from my sister Jennifer, with 3 words. "Rebecca, call me now." I didn't know it then, but in the next 72 hours, I would discover that my own son, the boy I'd raised alone, the child I'd sacrificed everything for, had been selling intimate photos of me online. And what I would do about it would change both of our lives forever. My name is Rebecca Mitchell. I live in a renovated Victorian in the historic district of Charleston, with its wrought iron gates and magnolia trees that bloom every spring. I built my career from nothing after my husband left me for his 23-year-old paralegal. I raised my son Dylan alone, worked 70-hour weeks, put him through private school, gave him every opportunity I never had. I thought I was doing everything right. Before I tell you what happened next, I need you to understand something about how YouTube works. The algorithm decides who gets to see the ending of this story based on one thing: engagement. If you're not subscribed, if you don't leave a comment telling me where you're watching from, YouTube assumes you're not interested and stops showing you the content. I've seen people spend hours searching for part 2 of stories they never got to finish. Don't let that be you. Subscribe right now. Comment your city below. Because what happens in the next 48 hours? You won't believe it even when I tell you. I clicked the link Jennifer sent. My hands were shaking so badly I almost dropped the phone. The website loaded slowly, painfully, each second stretching into eternity. And then I saw it. Photos of me. Not naked, thank God, but close enough. Pictures taken through my bathroom window. Me in a towel after showering. Me changing clothes in my bedroom. Me in my robe making coffee in the morning. Someone had been watching me. In my own home. The place where I was supposed to be safe. The photos were tagged with descriptions that made my stomach turn. Hot MILF. Sexy, mature woman. Charleston real estate agent. Someone had monetized my privacy, my dignity, my body, and they'd made sure to include enough identifying information that anyone who knew me could find these images. I scrolled through dozens of photos, my vision blurring with tears. Then I saw the account name, the username that had uploaded every single image. Dylan M. 2007. Dylan Mitchell, born in 2007. My son. The phone slipped from my hands and hit the hardwood floor with a crack. I sat there in my bed, in the darkness, in the house I'd bought with commission from selling dream homes to happy families, and I couldn't breathe. The ceiling fan rotated slowly above me, the same rhythm it had turned for 3 years. But everything had changed. The air felt different. Thicker. Poisonous. I picked up the phone and called Jennifer. She answered on the first ring. "Becca, I'm so sorry." Her voice was rough with exhaustion and fury. "I found it by accident. One of my coworkers, her teenage son, was looking at this disgusting website, and she saw the photos and recognized you from when she came to your open house last year. She called me because she didn't know what else to do." "It's Dylan," I whispered. "The account name. It's him." The silence on the other end was deafening. "What are you going to do?" Jennifer finally asked. "I don't know. I need to think. I can't process this." "Becca, listen to me. You need to act fast. These photos are everywhere now. You need to protect yourself, your career, your reputation. And you need to deal with Dylan." After we hung up, I sat there until the sun came up, watching the light creep across my bedroom floor. The same floor where I'd taught Dylan to crawl. The same house where I'd read him bedtime stories, nursed him through illnesses, celebrated every birthday and achievement. Where had I gone wrong? At 7 a.m., I heard his door open, the sound of his footsteps on the stairs. He was 19 now, taking a gap year before college, supposedly finding himself. He'd been living with me rent-free, eating my food, using my car, while I worked 60-hour weeks to support us both. I met him in the kitchen. He was wearing sweatpants and a wrinkled t-shirt, his hair sticking up in all directions. When he saw my face, he froze. "Mom, you look terrible. Didn't you sleep?" The kitchen smelled like the coffee I'd made 2 hours ago, now bitter and cold. Morning light streamed through the windows, the same windows someone had photographed me through. My own son had photographed me through. "Sit down, Dylan." Something in my voice made him obey immediately. He pulled out a chair at the kitchen table, the one he'd sat in for family dinners throughout his childhood, back when we were still a family. I placed my phone on the table between us, the website still open. I watched his face as recognition hit. The color drained from his cheeks. His mouth opened, closed, opened again. "I can explain." "Don't." My voice was ice. "Don't you dare try to explain this to me." "Mom, I needed the money, and I thought..." "You thought what? That it was okay to violate my privacy? To sell photos of your own mother to strangers on the internet? To turn me into some kind of object for perverts to fantasize about?" He was crying now, tears streaming down his face, but I felt nothing. The woman who had once kissed every scraped knee, who had stayed up all night when he had fever, who had loved him more than life itself. She was gone. In her place was someone I didn't recognize, someone hard and cold and betrayed beyond comprehension. "I'm sorry," he sobbed. "I'm so sorry. I was desperate. I owed money to some guys, and I didn't know what else to do." "You owed money to some guys?" I repeated his words slowly, tasting the absurdity of them. "So your solution was to exploit me? To photograph me without my consent? To sell images of my body? I didn't think anyone would ever connect them to you. I was careful. You tagged them with Charleston real estate. Agent Dylan. My coworker's friend recognized me. How many other people have seen these? How many people I work with? People I've sold houses to? People in this community? How many of them have seen me in a towel because you needed quick cash?" He had no answer for that. He just sat there, 19 years old and sobbing like a child, but I was done protecting him from consequences. "Here's what's going to happen," I said, my voice steady despite the earthquake inside me. "First, you're going to contact that website and every other place you've posted those photos. You're going to get them taken down, all of them. I don't care what it takes. Second, you're going to move out of this house. Today. You have until 6 p.m. to pack your things and leave." "Mom, no, please. Where am I supposed to go?" "I don't care. Figure it out the same way you figured out how to exploit me for profit. Third, you're going to pay for a lawyer to send cease and desist letters to every website that hosted those images. I don't care how you get the money. Get a job, beg, sell your gaming console. But you're going to fix this. I don't have that kind of money. Then you should have thought of that before you violated my privacy and my trust." I stood up, my legs shaky, but my resolve firm. "I gave you everything, Dylan. Everything. I sacrificed my marriage, my social life, my 20s and 30s. I worked myself to exhaustion to give you opportunities. And this is how you repay me?" He reached for my hand. I pulled away. "Don't touch me. You lost that right when you pointed a camera at my bedroom window." The next few days were a blur of lawyer consultations, police reports, and damage control. I learned that what Dylan had done wasn't just betrayal. It was potentially illegal. Invasion of privacy. Revenge porn laws might even apply, even though we weren't romantic partners. The detective I spoke with, a woman named Sarah Chen who had kind eyes and a firm handshake, told me I had grounds to press charges. "He's your son," she said gently. "But he's also an adult who committed a crime. You have to decide what's right for you." I thought about it for 3 sleepless nights. Dylan had moved into a friend's basement, was working double shifts at a restaurant to pay for the lawyer he'd hired to help remove the photos. He'd sent me 17 text messages, each one more desperate than the last. I hadn't responded to any of them. Jennifer came over on the 4th night with Thai food and wine. We sat in my living room, in the house that suddenly felt too big and too empty, and she let me talk. "I keep thinking about when he was little," I admitted, my voice breaking for the first time since that morning. "How he used to draw me pictures and leave them on my pillow. How he'd tell everyone at school that his mom was the strongest person in the world. What happened to that little boy?" "He grew up," Jennifer said softly, "and he made terrible choices. But Becca, you didn't fail him. He failed you. And more importantly, he failed himself. I don't know if I can ever forgive him. You don't have to decide that today, or tomorrow, or next year. You just have to decide what happens next." What happened next came 2 weeks later. Dylan showed up at my door at 9 p.m. on a Friday. I almost didn't answer, but something made me open it. He looked terrible, thinner, with dark circles under his eyes that reminded me of my own. "I'm not here to ask you to forgive me," he said, before I could speak. "I know I don't deserve that. Maybe I never will. I just needed you to know that I got all the photos taken down, every single one. The lawyer sent letters to 43 different websites. Most of them complied. The ones that didn't were pursuing legal action." I stood in the doorway, my arms crossed, waiting. "And I'm in therapy," he continued. "The therapist helped me understand that what I did wasn't just about money. I was angry. At you, at Dad, at the divorce, at feeling like I never measured up. And I took it out on you in the cruelest way possible. That doesn't excuse what I did. Nothing excuses it. But I want you to know I'm trying to understand why, so I never hurt anyone like that again." "You're in therapy," I repeated, 3 times a week, and I'm paying for it myself. I picked up a second job. I'm also working with a victim's rights advocate to understand the impact of what I did, not just to you, but to everyone who's ever been violated like this. I looked at my son, this tall, broken boy man who had once been my whole world, and felt something crack open inside me. Not forgiveness, not yet, but maybe the possibility of it, someday, in the distant future. "I'm glad you're getting help," I said finally. "I really am. But Dylan, I can't have you in my life right now. I need space. I need time. I need to figure out who I am after this, and I can't do that with you around." He nodded, tears streaming down his face. "I understand. I just wanted you to know I'm trying. And Mom? I know you probably don't want to hear this, but I love you. I've always loved you. I'm just sorry I had such a horrible way of showing it." After he left, I closed the door and leaned against it, sliding down to the floor. I cried then. Really cried. For the first time since discovering those photos. I cried for the innocence lost, for the trust betrayed, for the relationship that would never be the same. But I also cried with something that felt almost like relief, because I'd done the hardest thing I'd ever done. I'd held my son accountable. I'd put my own dignity first. I'd said no. 3 months later, I was showing a house in the French Quarter to a lovely couple from Atlanta when my phone buzzed. A text from Dylan. Just one line. 6 months sober from screens. Therapy is helping, still thinking about you every day. I didn't respond, but I didn't delete it either. 6 months after that, on a cool autumn evening, I got a letter in the mail. Not a text, an actual handwritten letter on cream-colored stationery. Dylan's handwriting, which I'd recognize anywhere. Inside was a check for $18,000. Dear Mom, the letter began. This is every penny I made from those photos, plus interest, plus what I estimate your lawyer cost you. I know money doesn't undo what I did. I know nothing undoes it. But I want you to have this anyway. Maybe donate it to a women's shelter or a privacy rights organization. Maybe burn it. Whatever feels right to you. I'm not asking for forgiveness. I'm not asking for anything. I just wanted you to know that I wake up every single day knowing I hurt the best person I've ever known. And I'm spending the rest of my life trying to become someone who would never do that again. I hope someday you're proud of me again. Even if I never get to know about it. Love always, Dylan. I sat at my kitchen table, the same table where I'd confronted him almost a year ago, and read the letter 3 times. Then I picked up my phone and typed out a message. Just 4 words. I'm proud of you. I didn't send it that night, or the next night, but a week later, on his 20th birthday, I did. His response came 30 seconds later. Thank you. That means everything. We didn't have coffee the next day or rush back into a relationship. Healing doesn't work like that. But over the next year, we texted occasionally. Brief messages, updates, nothing deep. He told me he'd enrolled in community college, that he was studying psychology, that he wanted to help other young men understand consent and respect. And slowly, painfully, with no guarantee of where it would lead, we began to rebuild. I'm 48 now. Dylan is 21. We have dinner once a month at a neutral location, a diner in Mount Pleasant with checkered floors and the best pie in Charleston. We talk about safe things, his classes, my latest sale, the weather. Sometimes the conversation flows naturally. Sometimes we sit in comfortable silence. Sometimes it's awkward and strained. But we're trying. And maybe that's enough. Because I learned something through all of this. Something that cost me dearly, but changed me completely. Loving someone doesn't mean accepting anything from them. Real love, the kind that actually matters, includes boundaries. It includes consequences. It includes holding people accountable, even when it breaks your heart. Especially when it breaks your heart. Dylan will never be my little boy, again. That relationship died the morning I saw those photos. But maybe, slowly, carefully, with work and time and therapy and honest conversations, we can build something new. Something based not on blind maternal devotion, but on mutual respect. On him earning back trust he destroyed. On me learning to forgive without forgetting. I don't know if we'll ever be close again. Maybe the damage is too deep. Maybe some betrayals can't be fully healed. But I do know this. I chose myself. I chose my dignity. I chose to demand better. And in doing so, I gave both of us the only real chance at redemption we ever had. Last month, Dylan graduated from community college. He sent me an invitation to the ceremony. I went. I sat in the back, and when they called his name, I clapped. Not with the unbridled joy I would have felt before, but with something quieter, something earned. After the ceremony, he found me in the parking lot. "Thank you for coming," he said. "I'm glad I did. I know we're not where we used to be. I know we might never be. But Mom, I want you to know I wake up grateful every day that you didn't give up on me completely. That you gave me a chance to grow, even from a distance." I looked at this young man, no longer a boy, no longer mine in the way he used to be, and felt something settle in my chest. Not closure, exactly, but peace. I didn't do it for you, I said honestly. I did it for me. But I'm glad it helped you too. He smiled, sad and understanding. That's fair. That's more than fair. As I drove home that evening, past the oak trees dripping with Spanish moss, past the historic homes I'd sold to happy families, past the life I'd built from nothing, I realized something profound. The greatest act of love I'd ever given my son wasn't the sacrifice, the sleepless nights, or the unconditional acceptance. It was the boundary. It was the consequence. It was the hard, painful truth that he had to earn his way back into my life. Because that's what real love looks like. Not indulgence. Not enablement. But the courage to say no when no is what someone needs to hear. Even if that someone is your own child. Especially if that someone is your own child.